Hey everyone, my husband has been homesick for the last couple days, so I decided to make him some homemade chicken and gnocchi soup. I'm going to start off with 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, seasoning with a little salt and a little bit of seasoning salt, or what they call seasoning all. I'm also going to season with some of this black pepper here, making sure to get that thoroughly incorporated. And then I am going to go very heavy with the garlic powder and also with the onion powder. I love to add garlic and onion powder to almost every savory dish. It really brings out the flavors with no sodium. You know, like they say, if you're not sneezing, it's not seasoned. I don't measure my seasonings. I just wait until the ancestors say, okay, baby, that's enough. Next, I'm going to go in with about a half a tablespoon of butter. Make sure it's nice and hot and melted. Add my chicken breasts down there and make sure I get a good sear on one side before I flip them over. In order to cook the chicken breast thoroughly, you can always insert a thermometer, or you can cut the thickest part of the chicken breast and make sure that the fluids leak out clear. Once the chicken breast has been cooked thoroughly, I remove them and set them over to the side on a plate. And then I am going to work with getting our vegetables sauteed up. So now I'm going to go ahead and add about 4 tablespoons of butter to the bottom of this pan, making sure to get all of those good chicken drippings at the bottom. That's going to add flavor. I add about a tablespoon of minced garlic, or 2 cloves of minced garlic if you're using fresh. And then I added my chopped up celery, onion, and my freshly grated carrots from the garden. I'm going to season these vegetables to bring out and build flavor with garlic powder, onion powder, and a little bit of black pepper. Now you want to definitely cook these veggies down. I mean, if you like them a little bit more crunchy, feel free to do you, boo, and do you well. However, I like mine a little more tender in soup. I don't really like hard big pieces, but again, it's your preference. So I like to give these a good stir and just kind of cook them down, not till they're mushy, but tender with a little crisp is perfect for our family and our household. The smells at this point is just amazing. Now, after we give that a good stir, we're going to start working on making our roux, or our thickening agent. And I'm going to do this by adding about 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. I like to add a little at a time, making sure to stir in between just so there's no clumps, even though you will see it thicken up and the vegetables kind of clump together, but that'll definitely loosen up as you continue to stir. You just want to keep an eye on it and making sure to stir regularly so nothing burns. I'm going to start off, after this by adding a little bit of chicken broth, and that's really going to loosen this up, but that flour is going to definitely thicken up this soup to the perfect consistency. Now you see the chicken broth, and this is just a generic Kroger brand. I like to use Swanson. However, this is what they had on store, and why not save a few extra bucks? I'm using about 3/4 of the actual carton. And then I'm going to add some of this better than bouillon. Again, we're all about building flavors. I'm going to add about a half a tablespoon right into that stock just to give it some nice flavor to our soup. Get that all stirred in good and great. It really is smelling delicious at this point. Now we're going to add in some half and half. I am going to add in half of this bottle. I'm going to definitely post the recipe down below so you have the exact measurements. This is going to add that rich, creamy texture that we love to the soup and help everything just combine and add some delicious flavoring. We're going to go ahead and give that a stir and let that come up to a good boil before we add all of our herbs and spices. Now that that is done and coming up to a boil, I'm going to add some dried parsley. I'm also going to add some dried thyme, and then I'm going to add a little bit of dried nutmeg. Please do not skip out on the nutmeg. It really brings out the flavors and works absolutely perfect in this dish. We're going to go ahead and continue to give this a stir and allow this to come to a boil. Doesn't that look beautiful? Look at that rich color. Now that that has come to a boil, we're going to add our diced chicken back in. I like to dice mine and also shred it a little bit. That way you get different bites in each spoonful of this delicious soup. But again, if you like to cube it, do you, boo. Just make sure not to miss out on those juices that have seeped out of that chicken. Add that goodness right back into that soup. Give it a good stir and let it come up to a boil on medium low. Now it's time to add our fresh, I have some pre-washed spinach here, again the Kroger brand, and it depends on how much spinach your family likes. I'm going to just add about a handful and a half to my soup. You know, spinach really wilts down once you cook it. It seems like a lot in bulk once you first add it, but once it cooks, it's going to wilt down, so it won't be as much as you think it is. So we're going to go ahead and add that in, give that a nice stir, and allow that to just cook down all of that freshness, and it really adds some beautiful flavor and a new texture to our soup that just looks absolutely delicious at this point. Now that we have that wilted down, we're going to make sure that we go ahead and start adding in our gnocchi. I have a 16-ounce pack of the Kroger Private Selection brand. I'm just going to add that in. Now make sure to follow directions on your package. My package actually didn't come with any directions, but I just cooked it for about 6 to 7 minutes on a medium low. And then I tasted it just to make sure it was al dente, not too mushy, but just the perfect texture and combination, and it actually turned out great for about that 6 to 7 minute mark. We're going to give that a good stir and just allow it to simmer down and cook for a little while. Once your gnocchi has thoroughly cooked, you're going to go ahead and give it another quick stir. Look at all those good chunks, and then we're going to get to plating. Doesn't that look beautiful? And it smells amazing. Look at all those vegetables, that creaminess. Once it's plated, I add it to a bowl and I add some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. And there you have it, a homemade chicken gnocchi.